All right, we started talking about the Masters.
We did.
That means we're going to be talking about the RBC Heritage as well. The two kind of go together in some cases, and yet this is worlds apart. We're excited to have Steve Wilmot back to join us. Steve, let's first of all, before we get into breaking news and all that other good stuff and have all the horns go off, let's talk about the ticket situation this year. It's time to get them. I mean, people get them, and they really kind of need to get them this year because of the new security measures, right?
Well, yes. I mean, obviously they're going fast and furious, but then again, you know, to show support for all the efforts that the foundation puts forth with giving back to charity, the economic impact and all is just, we're trying to encourage people obviously just to buy a ticket. But obviously that leads into the unfortunate times that we're living these days with some security measures, I should say, and you know, there'll be a lot more presence, a lot more people checking of tickets, as well as obviously there will be some wanding, there'll be some checking of bags and things too, but it's not, it will be somewhat unusual from the standpoint of a golf tournament. You know, it's not like going to an arena or a stadium, but we have some unique challenges, but we need people to buy tickets.
Yeah, and I think folks will understand that they're not putting a fence around the whole golf tournament yet. We're not there, and it's still so much more relaxed and less invasive at the RBC than it is at a lot of other tournaments. I can tell you that for a fact. A lot of the other tournaments back you up in lines, and it's kind of tough to get in. It's still going to be pretty easy to, when you get down, get off the shuttle bus to get into the tournament.
Well, you know, there's 600 homes on the golf course, so you right there in itself makes it unique. But that's what sets us apart from other tournaments. A lot of tournaments, there's one way in and one way out, and people utilize the homes, they utilize the villas, the harbor. But that's what sets us apart on the PGA Tour, is having certainly a unique venue, but one of the rich traditions on tour.
Absolutely. Steve, let's change it up a little bit and talk about one of the things that's probably one of the most challenging parts of your job this time of year, is you have to decide on sponsors exemptions.
Well,
could you tell us a little bit about those and who we've gone ahead and given some to so far this year?
Sure, and I'm actually going to announce some that we're going to today, but without question, it's one of the most difficult parts of my job, but the jobs of tournament directors. It's not just me personally making these decisions, but you know, you try to give those players that obviously have supported the efforts of the event in the past, or have some local or regional connections. Giving one to someone maybe from California doesn't necessarily mean something for us here, but this year has really been a challenge because there is no web.com event that week, so any player eligible for the web.com event as well has been applying for applications or an exemption. And this year we've had over 100 requests. We've already extended 2, and one goes to the Players Amateur Champion, which is Hunter Stewart from Vanderbilt. Right. And we've had a great luck or success with that too, having that Camellia Villegas and Bill Haas and Bud Cauley and Ricky Fowler and others have won the event, so to be able to play with us. But Mark Anderson, South Carolina, USC, the Buford connection as we know, but also today we're announcing Kevin Kisner, who is from certainly from upstate, played at the University of Georgia, is very connected to this area, as well as actually we're extending one to Kevin Tway. Kevin Tway is, as we all know, Bob Tway's son, who won here back in early 90s. But Kevin also won the Players Amateur a few years ago, is exempt on the PGA Tour, but falls outside of really qualifying. We've also extended one to John Daly.
Okay.
John is...
a lot of folks will be excited about that.
Yeah, very much so.
He draws the crowd.
He really does, but he's also done some things behind the scenes for us from the foundation side. When we were struggling a few years ago looking for a title sponsor, he made some calls, made some contacts, and we actually set up some meetings for us with some of his sponsors and relationships he's built. So there's a couple reasons for that. He's been good to us, and he certainly has played well here. But and then the other one that's currently still in our field, but we've extended one too in case he needs one, is Trevor Immelman. Okay. Trevor, you know, obviously a Masters champion, and that connection between Augusta and us, and the green jacket and our tartan jacket means a lot to this community. So, so basically we have 8. We've awarded 6 of those. Still have 2 more, and when you have the likes of the Hudson Swafords to the Ben Martins to the Paul Caseys to the Chad Campbells to the Chris DeMarcos. I can go on, as well as the local Chris Epperson.
When do you do the final? When do you announce the final ones?
Well, the unique thing about it is that, as you all know too, there is a category, the web.com a Q School category, that there's a reshuffle that happens. When I see reshuffle, it's based on how they're playing this year on the money. Well, that last reshuffle happens next Monday, the Monday of the Masters. So we wait to see how the reshuffle plays out, and obviously additional commitments to see what players might get bumped from the field as additional players commit. So these final decisions really won't be made till probably till late next week.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, has anybody, these letters that the guys write?
How creative.
Well, I'm sure they're pretty creative. They get their names on your radar is probably the most important thing, is they get you to think about them. Has anybody ever written their way into an exemption and just written such a fabulous letter you said, I got to have this guy, and he might not have been on your radar otherwise?
Well, it's funny, a gentleman that we did not give an exemption to, but I remember going back a couple years ago, and I got a letter in a little box, and it said I would give you my shirt off of my back for an exemption, and it was a golf shirt from Brett Quigley's line of clothes that he had. And
smart play.
So I got a shirt out of the deal anyway. But the thing is, I'm a little bit of old school too, and for me to hear from agents, for me to hear from girlfriends, for me to hear from wives about how important it is for so and so to play in it, I want to hear from them. I want to make a connection. A lot of these guys that need exemptions are somewhat younger, that I've created a relationship through the Players Amateur, but I don't need people telling me how important it is for them to play in it. So it means a lot to me to have someone reach out to me and say, this is why. This is, there's a connection, there's a reason, and that helps in the process.
That's good advice. That's good advice for any kid looking for an exemption to any tournament. Establish
Get everybody
that connection.
involved.
Well, but establish that connection with the tournament director yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
Steve, thanks so much for being with us and bringing us up to speed on everything about the tournament.
No, thank you for your continuing support, and look forward to a great week in a couple weeks.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.